Okay, let's talk about searching. Any field, well, searching is pretty powerful in SAP. So in this next example, we're going to look for POs based on a certain vendor, okay? So in this example, we want to display, we're looking for a PO. We don't know the PO number. All we know is that it's vendor 123. So I'm going to have to sort through all the purchase orders for that particular vendor. And then we'll look at how we narrow that down a little bit more using some wildcards here in just a moment, okay? So the first thing I'm going to demonstrate is ME23N. What is the 3? Megan, the 3 in ME23N, what is that telling us? What transaction is that doing?
Display.
Display, right. So we're going to do ME23N to display a purchase order, but we don't know the purchase order number. We're going to have to search for it by using the vendor number, the one thing that we do know, okay? So I'm going to go back to SAP, and I'm going to launch ME23N from my favorites. And it's not very intuitive, but you can see I don't have a purchase order displayed on screen. So I'm going to click the other purchase order button, which is this orange and white button. I can also go up here to the menu, purchase order, other purchase order. And Steve, your screen may look a little different. If you need to, we can share your screen. But we're ultimately trying to get to this pop-up. This is where SAP says, tell me what purchase order you would like to display. And I say to myself, okay, well, I don't know the purchase order number. That's when I click on what is referred to as a match code. This lets me search the system for all the purchase orders that are in the system. And how I search will depend on what I know, right? In this case, we're gonna look for based on vendor once it thinks. If anyone's returns some data faster than mine, I'll let you share your screen instead of mine.
Mine came up.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Okay, all right, so yeah, let's talk through. So you'll notice the first thing, you've got a bunch of tabs along the top, right? And it's currently on the tab that says purchasing documents per asset. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't know anything about the assets. These are not asset POs. So let's go to what we do know. Do you see at the, like, look across to the right, you see 2 tabs, and then you see some arrows and then a little box. Click on the box. These are all the possible ways. This is called the search help box. So these are all the possible ways you could search for purchase orders. Okay, you can see there are a lot of ways to search for purchase orders. What do we know? We know the vendor number. So yep, we are going to search for purchasing documents using the vendor number. When we select that, it takes us right to that tab. Okay, now the vendor number we're going to use is 3000. So go ahead and type in 3000. Now you might say, well, what if I don't know the vendor number? Oh yeah, you can click on that little arrow and search for the vendor number. I mean, you can go down the rabbit holes of searching for things that you need to search for in order to find the PO. We'll leave it like that for now. We'll assume that we know the vendor number. So just go ahead and press enter, or the green check mark down below. Okay. So what do you see? The first, yep, I would say the first thing I notice is down near the bottom of that pop-up, there are 147 entries found. Megan, what does that mean to you?
There's 147 invoices with vendor 3000.
Not invoices, but
Or purchase orders.
purchase orders. And do you see the purchase order numbers there in your screen? Yes. Yeah, that little column in bluish green. Yep. So if you scroll, there are literally 147 different purchase orders in this system for vendor number 3000. Okay, So that's our first demo. We searched and we found 147 purchase orders. Steve, were you able to do that on your screen?
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and let you share your screen. And Megan, you just stay right there. Just stop sharing and let's let Steve share. Okay, so yours is, you see your icon bar, you see where it says document overview on. You can click that. Let's turn that off. It's not very helpful. And then once it's done doing that, the third icon over is the little box with the arrows. Yeah, that one, click that. And then click the match code right there in the purchase order field where the cursor's blinking at you. Click the little boxes to the right. There you go. Okay. So because your screen looks a little bit different, you see that you're on the tab, it's highlighted in blue, it says purchasing documents for material. We don't know the material, so we want the vendor. Yep, click the one right next to it. And let's put in vendor number 3000 and then press enter. You should get the same 147 entries, right? Yeah.
Looks that way.
Yes, exactly. So what's the first purchase order? Scroll up to the top and read me that first purchase order number.
45,17714.
You got it, man. That's perfect. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, we'll let you continue to share. All right. So the next thing is, what if we don't know the vendor? Or what if we only know part of the vendor? Or what if we only know the material number? So let's try to re-execute that search. You see that little, it's kind of a tan khaki bar right under where it says purchasing documents per vendor. It's got a little arrow pointing down. Yeah. Yep. Click that. That is how you re-execute your search with new search criteria. Let's, instead of searching by vendor, take that vendor out and let's click on, you see the little dot, dot, dot over there to the right? Up, yep, click on that. And let's go down to purchasing documents for material. So instead of searching by vendor, we're now going to search by material. But we don't know the whole part number. We only know part of the part number. So we're going to talk about wildcards now, okay? Let's say we want to find all the POs where the material number ends with -10. So we're going to do a wildcard of star. The wildcard in SAP is star. Yeah, put in your wildcard star.
Right here?
Take all that out. Let's start over. Yeah, delete all that.
Oh, delete all that. Okay.
There you go. And then we're going to do wildcard.
Literally spell out wildcard?
No, sir. We're going to do the asterisk character.
That?
There you go. That character right there represents a wildcard in SAP. And then now we're going to do -10. And then now we're going to hit enter. So at the bottom of your pop-up, how many entries were returned?
151.
151. And what do all of those records have in common?
And there's 10.
They have the -10. The M may be coincidental. Scroll down your list and let's just see what that material number is in all of these. Yeah,
Well, there is some.
Yeah.
There's 10 because there's some THC at the bottom.
Right. So the one thing that these things have in common is that the material number ends in the -10 character string. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to take back screen sharing real quick because I do want to demonstrate. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate 3 ways to do a wildcard. ME23N, because we're still trying to display a purchase order, but to do that, we have to search for the purchase order. And to do that, we have to have some piece of information. And again, we're in the material. So the dot tells me I'm searching on the material. Steve showed us how to search for it if we don't know, like we only know the last few characters of the material number. What if we know the first few characters of the material number? So in that case, we're going to start with those characters. What do we know? And then we're going to do our wildcard. So now I'm telling SAP, give me every single purchase order in the system where the material starts with the characters THT followed by something. You can see now I've got 82 entries found. You guys see that? It's up here at the top and it's down here at the bottom. And again, Steve, what do all of these records have in common?
THT.
THT, that's right. Some of them, yeah, so THT-01, THT-00, but all of them start with THT. Very good. Okay, let's do one more. Let's say I don't know what it starts with, and I don't know what it ends with, but I do know that it has something in the middle, and the something in the middle is *00. I'm sorry, the something in the middle is the -00 dash. So now I'm searching with wildcards on both ends. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now I've narrowed it down to 41 entries. You see with each one of these executions, we've gotten different results. And again, what do all these have in common, Megan?
They all have -00 somewhere in it.
Exactly. Somewhere in the middle. It's got something on the front and something on the end, but that -00 is constant. So by using those wildcards, I have narrowed down my results originally. What we have, Megan, like 140 some odd results.
I think it was like 151.
Yeah, when we did it by vendor, it was like 151. Then we got down to something less than that. And now we're down to 41, which is a lot more manageable. I should be able to zero in on the purchase order that I want. The point here is that SAP has powerful search options, whether you know a lot of information or you know very little information. You should be able to zero in on what you want by using wildcards. Okay, so I'm going to cancel out of that, and I'm just going to return back to our easy access screen, and we will keep going.